You send a simple message, then you rewrite it 3 times. You add context, you add justification, you add reassurance. You don't just say, "I can't make it." You explain why. You soften it. You make sure they won't misunderstand. And even after you press send, your chest feels tight. Why do you feel the need to explain yourself just to exist? Visual phone screen with a long text message being edited. 2. Problem deep dive. Over-explaining doesn't look dramatic. It looks polite, thoughtful, considerate. You clarify your tone before anyone questions it. You defend decisions no one attacked. You preempt criticism that hasn't happened. In meetings, you over-justify ideas. In relationships, you narrate your intentions in detail. Even when buying something small, you explain why you chose it, and afterward, you replay it. Did I say too much? Did I sound insecure? Did they think I was weird? This pattern quietly shapes your identity. You become the reasonable one, the careful one, the one who makes sure everyone is comfortable. But inside, there's tension. Because you're not just explaining information, you're explaining yourself. Psychologically, this connects to something called rejection sensitivity, a heightened awareness of potential disapproval. It's not paranoia. It's a learned pattern where your brain constantly scans for signs of being misunderstood or excluded. Over time, this becomes automatic. You don't decide to over-explain. Your nervous system does. And the real cost? It slowly teaches you that your default state isn't enough, that your boundaries need defense, that your no needs a courtroom presentation. But here's the question that matters. Who taught your brain that being simple wasn't safe? Visual. Person sitting alone at a table. Sunlight through window. 3. Reframe. You are not weak. You are not dramatic. You are not broken. Over-explaining is not a personality flaw. It's an adaptation. If you grew up being misunderstood, corrected quickly, or emotionally dismissed, your brain learned something important. If I explain better, I'll stay safe. This is basic behavioral psychology. When a behavior reduces discomfort, even slightly, the brain reinforces it. Relief becomes reward. If explaining yourself once prevented conflict, your brain stored that as a survival strategy. And survival strategies don't disappear just because the environment changes. They linger, quietly. Visual, abstract brain animation with glowing neural pathways. But here's the part we rarely question. What if the behavior that once protected you is now exhausting you? 4. Psychological mechanism. Let's break down what's happening inside your brain. There are 2 key systems involved. First, the threat detection system, primarily the amygdala. It scans for social danger, not physical danger, social danger, rejection, criticism, disapproval. Second, the prefrontal cortex, the rational planning center. When your amygdala senses even a small risk of being misunderstood, it sends a subtle alarm, not panic, just tension. Your prefrontal cortex steps in to solve it. How do we prevent this? Add more context. Clarify intentions. Reduce uncertainty. Over-explaining becomes your brain's attempt to lower social threat. Here's the metaphor. Your mind is like a lawyer defending you in a trial that hasn't started. It gathers evidence, builds arguments, over-prepares. Because somewhere in your past, there was a trial. Maybe your feelings were minimized. Maybe your tone was misread. Maybe your no wasn't respected. So now your nervous system runs a predictive model. In cognitive science, this is called predictive processing. Your brain constantly guesses what might go wrong and acts early to prevent it. Over-explaining is prediction in action. But predictions aren't always accurate. And when the prediction is outdated, you keep solving problems that don't exist. You have visual, slow-moving light patterns forming and dissolving. So how do you gently retrain this pattern without becoming cold or dismissive? 5. Practical framework. Not by forcing silence, not by pretending you don't care, but by adjusting the system. Step 1. Separate information from justification. What to do? Before you speak or send a message, ask, am I giving information or am I defending my right to choose? Then remove one unnecessary sentence. Why it works. This interrupts the automatic threat response loop. You activate the prefrontal cortex consciously instead of letting it operate defensively. You're teaching your brain that minimal explanation does not equal danger. Example, instead of, I can't come because I've had a long week and I'm really tired and I don't want you to think I don't care. Try, I won't be able to come tonight. I'll catch up with you soon. Then pause. Let the discomfort exist. That pause rewires tolerance. Visual, notebook with one sentence written clearly. Step 2. Practice micro-discomfort. What to do. Intentionally allow small misunderstandings without correcting them immediately. Not major ones, just minor perceptions. Why it works. Exposure therapy principles show that when you experience anxiety without performing the safety behavior, your nervous system recalibrates. The brain learns. I survived without over-explaining. That memory weakens the old loop. Example. If someone replies briefly to your message, don't send a follow-up clarifying tone. Let it sit. Notice that nothing collapses. Visual, person placing phone down and walking away. Step 3. Build boundary tolerance. What to do. State one boundary this week without adding emotional cushioning. Simple, direct. Why it works. Assertiveness activates neural pathways linked to self-agency. On each successful boundary updates your brain's predictive model. Directness does not equal rejection. Repeated experiences reshape threat perception. Example. I'm not available this weekend. No added paragraph. Your heart may race. That's your amygdala recalibrating. Stay steady. Visual, waves moving slowly against shore. Step 4. Identify the original script. What to do. Journal one memory where you felt misunderstood or dismissed. Not to blame, just to notice. Why it works. Memory reconsolidation research shows that when you recall an old memory while feeling safe, the emotional charge softens. You separate past threat from present reality. Example. Maybe a teacher once embarrassed you for speaking unclearly. Or a parent often said, "That's not what you meant." Your brain adapted. Seeing that origin reduces shame. Enough visual, empty room with sunlight moving across floor. Step 5. Replace explanation with curiosity. What to do. When you feel the urge to over-explain, ask a question instead. Shift from defense to engagement. Why it works. Curiosity moves you out of threat mode and into social connection mode. The brain's reward system activates differently when you explore rather than defend. Example. Instead of clarifying your entire opinion in a debate, say, "What part didn't make sense to you?" You allow dialogue instead of preemptive protection. And that changes the dynamic entirely. Visual. 2 chairs facing each other in soft light. 6. Integration. Think of your nervous system as a smoke alarm. It once detected real smoke. So now it goes off when you burn toast. Over-explaining is you waving a towel under the alarm, trying to prevent the noise. But you don't need to wave the towel every time. You need to recalibrate the sensor. Information. On discomfort tolerance, boundaries, memory awareness, curiosity. Each one gently adjusts the sensitivity. Until one day you send a simple message, and you don't edit it 5 times. You let it be. Visual, slow sunrise light filling a room. 7. Quiet, empowering close. You were never too much. You just learned that clarity kept you safe. And safety matters. But safety doesn't require constant self-defense. Sometimes the most powerful shift is allowing your words to be simple. No courtroom, no performance, no apology for existing. You are allowed to take up space without a footnote. And maybe the next time you press send, you'll leave one sentence unsaid, and nothing will break, except the old belief that you had to explain yourself to be accepted. Visual, person, walking calmly into open daylight.